Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to the latest and probably greatest business jet in flight simulation history. Welcome to the FSReborn Embraer Phenom 300, a true study level business jet. And this is not just a modern business jet, but it also comes with a lot of features that you would probably not even expect to be in such an add-on, such as the ability to place your own custom FBO, including 3D models at airports, and a full passenger simulation, including the passengers' feelings and behaviors. So really cool stuff, random failures and circuit breakers and all that type of stuff included in the simulation. Now, this airplane would be far too complex to demonstrate in one single video, so today we are going to start with a normal flight from Barcelona to Biarritz, which is a typical real-world Phenom 300 flight that you would see operated by NetJets, and we are going to have a look at the airplane in its first impression. And then we will definitely do follow-up videos where I'm going to show many of the millions of features that you will find in this airplane. So if you're up for those, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But now let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing we are going to do over here is to start with a little walk around our Phenom. Now we are standing here in mkstudios Barcelona, and we'll fly over to Biarritz by Flightbeam, both of which are fantastic airports. Now let's start on the airplane itself. The livery itself is a third-party livery from Flightsim.to featuring the NetJets design, which is the biggest operator of Phenom 300s in Europe and North America. Now let's go ahead and get started over here doing a walk around, and I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that we see on the outside over here. So we got our pitot tube, we got the ice detector, and then looking down at the fuselage, we have a lot of antennas over here. I'm not going to go over what every one of those are, but what I am going to go over is the nose wheel over here, which is really high level of detail. Looks fantastic. Now the chocks can be removed only through the chocks at the main wheels, but overall fantastic modeling down here. Now let's go ahead and move to the other side. Now you can open the nose cargo door if you want to, like this. Moving further backwards, then we got the standby and the first officer's pitot probe, and then moving backwards we have the landing lights down here, and we have the fuel panel, which we are going to have a more detailed look into later on, because you can completely operate this from the outside, and that's indeed one of the methods to refuel this airplane. Moving along the wing, then we got our main wheel where we can remove the chocks already, and then we're just going to check out the leading edges over here, and we are going to have a look at the nav lights. Winglet with the static wick discharges in place, and then let's move backwards on the wing, having a look at the main landing gear, which is looking good. Now back here you got one of the few latches that you can actually not operate from the outside. Then we got our engine. Let's remove the cover, and let's also have a quick look at the front. Lovely level of detail, just like you can see over here with all the screws and everything. Really well done, really well done. Okay, so our tailplane with the lovely T-tail. And then we're getting to this side of the aircraft, and over here there's a couple of nice things. First of all, we do have the cargo compartment, which we'll talk about again in a few moments. And then we got our external power receptacle over here, which we can open, and where we can connect an external power unit as well. Alright, on the side then we got our standard wing. Again, look at the fantastic modeling over here. Look at the level of detail with a little bit of dirt and everything. Just fantastic, just really fantastic model. Okay, so let's go ahead and step inside then. We can open the door down here, and here we are. Look at the lights automatically coming on when the door is opened, and then we're getting inside. Now, the passenger cabin again features a load of details. There is also 3 different versions of the cabin available in different color schemes. Now you can obviously do all the standards like getting your tray table out and opening all those lovely little seat pockets that are found down here. You can open all the window shades and close them down here, and of course we also have a lavatory in this airplane where you can take a dump with a fantastic view out the window through a couple of nice flowers. Okay, now let's go ahead and close the shithole. Come on, close down please. And then let's make our way up front and have a look into the flight deck. Now the kitchen over here, fully modeled as well. Whatever you're looking for, you're probably going to find, including a nice number of drinks that are absolutely not imitations of any real-world drinks, absolutely not. So let's put that stuff away and have a look into our flight deck. Again, over here, fantastic level of detail. You can open and close. Oop, didn't mean to go outside. You can open and close the alternate gear extension. You can use that, of course. All that lovely stuff is simulated, and that also includes things like the circuit breakers down here, which are fully simulated. Alright, so that's a view from the flight deck of our Phenom 300. Fantastic looking flight deck. I think the G3000 fits it really well, and FSReborn have done a lovely amount of additions to the G3000 that are going to make this thing just a bit more realistic. We also do have an electronic flight pack that you can move around like that. You can also turn it, provided I can find it. Alright, here it is. You can turn this thing around, and you can already see that we do have live maintenance information on this aircraft. You can see for how long your light bulbs have been working, the engines have been running, engine status, oil quantity, and you can also go ahead and perform maintenance on a lot of different things right here in the aircraft. It also tells you your regular maintenance intervals, so that when you actually do reach those intervals, you have to perform maintenance, otherwise things are getting likely to develop problems. Now, in the settings over here, you can see lots of different things. You can increase the speed at which your airplane wears down. You have a headphone simulation. You have ground operations previews. You can set your units over here, and you do have action cameras, which are quite interesting. So, for example, if you turn an engine startup action camera on, then the moment you start the engine, your camera is actually going to switch to the engine. That's a pretty neat feature, even though for recording videos I am probably not going to use it too much, because, you know, I do like the pilot experience, but this is a really nice feature for those of you who love the, let's call it, aviation video line of flight simulation. Now, going on, that's the pre-flight screen where you can check the general condition of things like your tires, your brakes, the air pressures and everything. Then we can import our SimBrief flight plan over here. And you do have the departure screen where you can get all the runway information. You get your META, your TUF, and all the NOTAMs that you can have a look at over here. The same thing for your arrival airport. Then you do have general weather tab where you can get your arrival and departure META and search for any airport you want. And then you also have the operational flight plan down here. Then there's Navigraph charts where you can, well, use your Navigraph charts. Then there's a ground op screen where you can either just load everything up directly, or you can use a real-time loading feature, which I'm going to show in a few moments. Then there's the cabin comfort screen. This one's really nice as well. Over here you see your passenger status, so how they feel and all that kind of stuff. You can do custom PAs over here, and you can, well, serve your passengers or clean the cabin. Lovely stuff, really lovely stuff. Now, we have already had a look at the maintenance screen. Then there's also the realism screen, which offers a lot of things like bird strikes, like persistent covers, hydraulic pump failures, flap failures, electrical systems, and so on. So basically over here you can configure the airplane to be as realistic as you want it to be. Now the FAQs are really nice as well, because they do offer you a little bit of general advice about the aircraft that you may be interested in. Like, I opened the door mid-air and now I lost pressurization. Yeah, that's because you're supposed to. The full normal and emergency procedures are delivered in the airplane's manual, the standard operations manual, 133 pages. Then there's a QRH available as well through the developers Discord. A lot of lovely stuff over there, and you can get a lot of that stuff from down here as well. Alright, so that's a really fantastic electronic flight bag for a business jet in our simulator. It has the things that we need for daily operation, like the flight plan, the charts, and the ground operations, and also things like our settings, maintenance pages, cabin comfort, and so on. So really fantastic electronic flight bag included in the airplane. You can stow it if you don't want it down there, and when it's stowed, you can also use the window shades like this. Really nice, really nice. Visual immersion of this airplane is fantastic. Alright, now let's go ahead and go fly this thing. We are going to take it from Barcelona to Biarritz, quick 55-minute flight across the Pyrenees. Now, if we do have a very quick look down here for our departure, we are looking at northwesterly winds, a couple of clouds in the skies, and for our arrival in Biarritz, fantastic conditions, so we are not going to need any extra fuel today. Now, let's go ahead and start getting our airplane ready. And yeah, we are going to do that by having a quick look into the flight plan. So here's what our en route charts look like. As you can see, absolutely nothing on there in the high levels that we care about. Some low level icing below 260, but we're planning 300, so that's not going to be a problem. The weather is fantastic, as we've just said, and we're going to be on time. So our call sign is going to be fraction 931 Yankee, and we'll be cruising in flight level 300. We need 2,300 pounds of fuel for today's flight, so let's load like 2,400-ish. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves a ground power unit. It's not required, you can start the airplane right from the battery, but let's go ahead and get it, because we'll probably be talking a little bit about the avionics and stuff like that. Okay, fantastic. So now that we got it connected, let's go ahead and do our pre-flight inspection. So that thing is off. The oxygen cutout is in, normal, generators, auto, bleeds, auto. Then we got the fuel pumps, auto, hydraulic, pressure shutoff valves, open. Passenger signs will come on, and the ADS probes are in auto. Then on the right hand side, the pressurization mode selector goes to auto, and the air conditioning mode selector as well. Alright, moving down to the center panel, park and brake is set, and down here the bottle discharge is off, and that's pretty much it. Then we can go ahead and power her up. So batteries on, electrical external power on, and now let's watch our airplane start up. And here we go. So we do have the standard initialization screen down here, and we're going to make good use of that in a couple of moments. But first, let's go down here and go to the load in real-time feature. And now this is in progress. So the fuel truck is on order. Everything is going to take a little while until it is going to arrive, so that we have a realistic pre-flight sequence, which is quite nice, isn't it? Alright then, let's go down here and start with our avionic initialization. And we start down here with the voice recorder test, and that is in progress. And done. Then let's go next. We got the terrain awareness system test in progress. And thereafter comes the traffic test. So these are just taking a little while, but as mentioned, this leads you into a realistic pre-flight sequence, including not just everything internally, but you also have the external stuff. Like right now, fuel truck is en route, estimate time for arrival in a couple of minutes.
System test. Okay.
Okay.
System
Well.
failure.
Oh, okay. Well, probably failure because the systems haven't aligned yet. Let's just try that one more time. So normally it is a little faster. I guess it was because our avionics hadn't aligned yet. But we'll see about it. We may have to do it again, otherwise we have to fly with a torsion operative, which we are licensed to do. But that's one of the nice things over here. Unlike some of, for example, the default business jets, many things aren't just hard-coded in the aircraft over here, but are actually simulated live. And yeah, if a failure occurs...
System failure.
Okay, so be it. Then let's test our TCAS. The traffic warning is there, standpoint is there. That is looking a little bit better.
System test passed.
Yep, that is looking better. Okay then, next up we got the ATR. For that we are just gonna set 20 degrees down there and send that to the airplane. Alright, and what this does is basically the engine or the FADEC has an automatic thrust reserve option. For this we just need the outside temperature entered, and if the airplane detects that an engine fails during takeoff, or if there is a difference between the N1 of more than 20%, then it will automatically apply the automatic thrust reserve and therefore bring your engines to maximum power. Lovely little feature from FADEC that we have here. Alright, so the voice recorder system tests and engine settings have been taken care of. Next up, let's just go down to SimBrief down here and request our flight plan to import automatically. So let's select the import, and here we go. So, towards Graus as our first waypoint. Then let's go procedure, departure, and let's see what is planned for us down here. So, flight plan, and we have the Graus 8 Delta departure from 2 for right. Okay, let's see if we're gonna get 2 for right here. Might as well become 2 for left in Barcelona, but if we get 2 for right, that'd save us a lot of taxi time, so I would absolutely appreciate that. So, Graus 8 Delta, let's go ahead and load that, and then we can go back to the procedures and select the arrivals, where we got the Donos 3 Sierra arrival in Biarritz, which is this one. And do we need any transition? No, we don't. And interestingly enough, says no waypoints on that one. Okay. Well, let's try the approaches. So ILS Zulu approach runway 27, and then we can take a very quick look into our approach charts. So for the arrival, Donos 3 Sierra, here it is, should take us to Bravo Zulu 277. Okay, interestingly enough it doesn't, but no comment on that for the time being. Then ILS Zulu approach from, let's say 501. I think that's gonna work rather well. Alright, and load that as well, please. Thank you. Alright, yeah, no idea why the arrival didn't load, but I think this is using the simulator's default nav data, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's a bug with the default nav data and not with the airplane. But we can't tell for sure, so I'm not going to comment on that for the time being. Alright then, so we have loaded our flight plan. We can go into VNAV real quick down here. VNAV is enabled. Then let's review climb speed schedule 250/65, and that is the normal climb. Transition altitude 6000 is correct. Then our speed limit 250 below 100, and terminal area speed, I'm just gonna set that right up because I am not going to bother with any noise abatement here. We have such a good rate of climb that that's no problem at all. Okay, for the cruise, 310 Mach 0.78 is selected, and then we can go back down here and go up next. Okay, so landing field elevation is set automatic, 242 is correct. Up next comes the loading, and this one is going to be an interesting one again. So over here we are going to set up our complete weight and balance, and you can see that we actually got the weight and balance graph up there as well. So we got 180 pounds for the pilot, the co-pilot's going to be 180 as well. Then our passengers on seats 1 and 2 are 180 pounds each, so we're looking at 360 that we're going to load down there. And we have crew bags 20 pounds, and aft baggage is going to be 50 pounds. Alright, catering is going to be 50 pounds as well, and toilet fluid is going to be like, I have no idea, probably 100 or so. Anyway, I'm just going to enter that. You can also just import it from MSFS, makes your life easier. Alright, going down to the fuel then. Looks like we already have 2,600 pounds on board. I want to demonstrate the refueling, so let's go ahead and bring that up to 3,000 pounds. Now, for our taxi fuel and our reserves, we can quickly look down here. Taxi is 120 and the reserves are 437. So taxi fuel 120 and reserves 437, like that. Okay, we can't press synchronize fuel on board just yet because we do want to perform the refueling. Now the truck is on the way, so how about we just go outside and commence refueling operations. So do follow me. Alright, here we are. So let's go around here. The truck should... There it comes. And then we can already open our refueling panel. And now let's have a quick look at the panel down here. Now you can see that's our current fuel quantity, 2,615 pounds. And you can then select the target by going increase or decrease down there. And as mentioned, we want to bring it up to 3,000 pounds of fuel just for the sake of demonstrating this. Otherwise, would have been happy to fly a minimum as well. Now we are going to wait until the fuel truck has connected, which is going to happen any moment now. So let's just wait for them to arrive. And then 3, 2, 1. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. Truck is here. Now it tells you exactly what to do up here. So next up, they want us to remove the fuel cap. And now we can select the target fuel quantity, which we've already done. And then we... Oh no, don't disconnect. Please stay, thank you. Alright, and then down here you can start the refueling. And now you can see that refueling is in progress. Now, luckily, this doesn't take long, because we are not talking great quantities over here. Like 3,000 pounds, that's, 1.5 tons. That thing is refueling pretty quickly. Here we go. So refueling is complete, then we can close the valve and make sure that the fuel cap is closed down there, close the refueling panel, and that's our refueling process complete. Now the truck is leaving, and with that we are now waiting for our passengers to arrive, and that's going to happen fairly soon. So let's jump inside again and just take a seat over here. Now, we can see we got 3,015 pounds of fuel on board. Fantastic. And we got our passenger signs turned on, so we're basically ready to receive our passengers. Now, the boarding vehicle, or the SUV that's going to bring the passengers to our airplane, is getting prepared right now, is on its way. They have also loaded the luggage to the vehicle. And when all of that arrives, we can go into our next step over here. So, fairly nice procedure, isn't it? Overall, I'm really happy with the way that they've simulated this, and just adds to the immersion. Now, just be aware that things seem to be taking rather long over here today, but that's just because we're at such a large airport here in Barcelona. If we were at a small airport these things would arrive a lot quicker because the ways wouldn't be that long. But it does change the timing that it takes for everything to arrive dynamically, so that's quite the nice feature. Now, with Barcelona being as big as it is, things are taking a couple minutes, and we just have to give it those minutes, but yeah, overall, really nice. Now, our fueling is complete, so let's press synchronize fuel on board. And with that, we're basically done with our weight and balance, and we're getting our weight and balance chart over here as well. Now, we can see our center of gravity for the takeoff is going to be somewhere over here, so looking at about 25-ish. Okay, so let's press next, and then we get into the takeoff data calculation, where we've got Barcelona's runway 24 right. The CG is taken from the weight and balance calculations we did earlier. So let's go into the weather, where we can show the latest METAR, and then you can also directly load the METAR data down here. Our runway is 24 right. We are just going to keep the full length down here. Now, we could go ahead and calculate an intersection takeoff. The question is, do we really want to invest that time, or are we just not going to bother? But I think just for the sake of demonstration here, why not do it today? So let's go down here for the airport chart. Then 24 right is our departure runway, and I would say we could easily depart from Papa 2 intersection, or maybe Papa 1 intersection. However, those are not allowed to use as entry, so Zulu 4 is probably going to be it. So let's have a look. Airport info, runway 24 right. Intersection from Zulu 4 is 9,278 feet. So let's go down here and calculate 9,278 feet. The rest is looking good. Takeoff config will be flap 1, takeoff ice protection off, and we are not going to... Well, actually, tell you what, let's use 100 feet for runway alignment, which is basically the distance you take to enter the runway from the taxiway to the point from which you are going to commence your takeoff. And then on the takeoff data down here, we get our takeoff speeds, the target trim and one setting, the one engine and operative climb gradient, and all that kind of stuff. So that's really nice stuff. Alright, so let's accept the takeoff speeds, which are going to be sent down here to the primary flight display. This would also tell us the required takeoff field length. However, seems to be a little bugged down there, because we're definitely not going to take 274,000 feet. But yeah, that's some lovely stuff down here. Okay, then we can press next, and as we can see, our takeoff speed box are already sent and accepted. So let's return to the flight initialization screen. We can see that everything is done, so we can accept our flight initialization. Okay, fantastic. Now, as you can see, it's fairly easy to do all of that stuff. Now that we've done everything, let's switch our controller over to the left-hand side and select the checklists, and then we can do the safety inspection, power-up, and before start checklists. So, emergency door locking pin is removed, emergency door secured and locked, documents, manuals, and charts checked on board, maintenance status is checked, emergency equipment checked, FCE reset knobs are set to none, IFE refreshment center switch off, oxygen bottle valve channel push to restore, oxygen supply control knob on passenger auto, oxygen mask regulator 100%, battery 1 and 2 switches are on by now, bus tie knob on auto, generator 1 and 2 switches are an auto, GPU is on, bleed 1 and 2 switches auto, cross bleed auto, test panel, oh yeah, is off. We haven't done that yet, we will later on in the checklist. Circuit breakers checked in, fuel pump switches auto, cross seat knob off, hydraulic pump shut-off valve switch is open, ELT armed, pusher cutout button is pushed out, gas lock pin removed, rudder pedals checked, unlock, windshield 1, 2 switches, located down here, are off, ADS probe knobs auto, engine 1 and 2 switches are off, wing and stabilizer switch off, landing gear lever down, pressurization mode switch auto, ECS both, now it is on both. Dump switch out, air conditioning panel is set, flaps 0, speed brakes closed, parking brakes set, start stop switches stop, shut off 1 and 2 buttons checked, bottle switch off, seat and belt conditions are checked, and that's the safety inspection checklist complete. So for the power up, this is basically what we've already done by memory, but we just verify that we've done everything. So battery 1 and 2 switches on, GPU is on. IFE refreshment center switches, we can switch those on now. Okay, are on, and then we got the voice recorder test done. Transponder is set. TCAS is on auto, and that's the power up checklist complete. Alright, so the before start checklist is going to be next. We are just going to wait until the passengers are here. For now, let's go ahead and test the warning systems. So, ice protection test is good. Stall protection test is good. Annunciators, there aren't all that many. You can see the parking brake light and a couple of lights down here, but that's it. Okay, so cargo smoke detector is looking good, and engine fire test is good, and with that our tests are all conducted. Okay, fantastic. So we've done that stuff. Let's see how our boarding is going. So ETA 20 seconds, that is good. So the passengers are on their way. And let's wait until they're gonna arrive, and then we can head outside and greet our guests upon arrival. And here they come. And here they run over all the ground stuff. Okay. I thought we were flying a standard business jet, not flying ambulance, but okay. Well, I guess we can't have it all. Right, so our guests are arriving, and they are bringing one bag today, so let's go ahead and load that bag. Here's a feature that I do really like. You have to open that cargo door, and then that bag is actually getting loaded. Together with the passengers getting in later on. So the bag is going to be loaded. Let's just give it a little while here. If we go back inside, you will actually see a couple of interesting features down there on the EFB while that boarding is taking place. So let's just go inside here and have a look. So passengers are boarding right now. And as you can see, the luggage has now been loaded. If we'd waited a little bit longer outside, we'd actually have seen that. So first passengers on board. Then we are just waiting for the second one to get on board. He's probably still taking selfies. Oh, well, looks like we are past that state. But yes, that does actually happen, that they stay outside and take selfies. That's quite funny. And as you can see, the bag is now loaded as well. So let's go to the bag. Oop, what? Oh, did he just crash our airplane? Okay, well that's going to be a bug report. Alright, so the bag is loaded, as you can actually see. And let's go ahead and close that up. And here we go, fantastic. Alright, cool, so our plane is loaded. Then let's get back inside and close the door and get ready for departure. So, where's the click spot? Here it is. And here we go. Alright, that's 2 passengers boarded. I do believe they take random seats, I'm not 100% sure about that, but anyway, our boarding is completed, and we can see 2 passengers. And, well, why do we just have single pilot? Anyway, doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter, so let's go ahead and load our FO as well. Let's make her like 150, otherwise she's probably going to get mad at me. Alright, here we go, and fuel 1,000, well, 3,000 pounds like this. Alright, and that's everything. So you can see you can load and unload the airplane instantly down here. So you can just go instant, like that, you can simply load it. Now we also have our FO on board, or you could do it in real time, then it just triggers that sequence again. I really do like that, I really do. Okay, cool. So we got our airplane loaded now, so let's go ahead and grab the ATIS and prepare ourselves for our departure. So, Barcelona ATIS departure 121.908. Oh, what's that? It's not taking the 8.33 frequency. Let's get a setup real quick. Avionics setting. Ah, here's the problem. We absolutely want 8.33 kilohertz. Alright, that's better, isn't it? That is much better.
Temperature 20, 2.16. QNH 1020. Transition level 70. Advise on initial contact. You have information India. Josep Tarradellas Barcelona El Prat Airport. Information India. 0730 Zulu. Arriving runway 24 right. Departing runways 24 left, 24 right. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Few at 800. Broken at 2000. Temperature 20, 2.16. QNH 1020. Transition level 70. Advise on initial contact. You have information India. Joseph.
Alright, information India is on board and the QNH is 1020. Now one small problem. For some reason I just can't change my QNH from inches to hectopascals on the standby. So let's just calculate that. 1020. I'm gonna be lazy right now. 3012. Like that. Alright, let's call delivery and get our IFR clearance. Barcelona delivery, fraction 931 Yankee, information India, request IFR clearance to Biarritz.
Standby, you're number 1. Fraction 931, Yankee, clear to Biarritz via the Grouse 8 Delta departure, runway 24 right. Initial climb to flight level 080. Departure on 119.105 squawk 2351.
Fraction 931 Yankee is cleared to Biarritz via the Grouse 8 Delta departure, climb flight level 70, departure 119.105, squawk 2351. Alright, level 70.
931 Yankee, read back correct. Ground will be on 122.23.
122.23, fraction 931 Yankee. Alright, fantastic. So, flight level 70, Grouse 8 Delta, and 2351. Excellent. So let's go ahead and get GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. Handling by, I don't care. Okay, fantastic. So the passengers are on board, everything's done. Then let's go ahead and do the before start checklist. So, Auster mask, flow and microphone is checked, test panel is tested, fire protection tested, smoke detector tested, annunciator panel tested, test panel off, fasten seatbelt signs on. Then external lights, let's go ahead and switch the nav on and the strobe once we get the pushback clearance here. Alright, emergency light switch is armed, fuel, actually is it? Now it is. Okay, fuel quantity imbalance, 3,035 pounds. Oxygen pressure for dispatch, we're gonna find that on the status page. And that is checked, is in the green. Is checked, thrust levers idle, parking, brake, set, engine ignition, auto, and the door is closed. And that's before start checklist complete. Alright, so let's go ahead and call for our pushback clearance. Barcelona ground, fraction 931 Yankee, request pushback and startup.
Fraction 931 Yankee, pushback approved, face east.
Pushback approved facing east, fraction 931 Yankee. Alright, so with the nose to the right hand side, fantastic. Okay, then we can disconnect the external power unit, because that is not a pushable unit. You don't want to know how often I forgot that when I prepared for this airplane. Okay. Strobe light on, ground from flight deck. Pushback and start are approved, facing east, and the parking brake is set. Why is nothing happening? Come on, GSX, what are you doing? No tuck at all? Come on, GSX. Nope, it's not working. Okay, then we'll start up on stand. So, engine 2 start. Quite easy, simply put the starter switch to start. Snambrayer at the end of the day. And here we go, that's a good start in engine number 2. Let's start engine number 1. And once the start is complete, or rather once the sequence is initiated, you can see it automatically returns into the auto position. And that's about as easy as it gets. And here we go. So that's 2 good starts. Then we can do the after start procedure. That's going to be flaps 1 for the takeoff. The GPU is already disconnected. And that's really all we got to do. Okay, fantastic. So after start checklist, GPU disconnected. ALEC MR button is in, battery 1 and 2 voltages are checked. Then ALEC MR button is now out. Yep. Okay, test panel is off. AFCS control unit is going to be off for the takeoff. We'll do raw data takeoff. Engine takeoff data is set. Landing field elevation set, takeoff speed set, speed selector knob is on FMS. Transponder is set, the code is in, TCAS is set, altimeter is QNH 1020 is set, standby as well, flight controls. So let me just see here for a second, do we have flight control display? No, we don't. Okay, that's fine. Alright, then flight controls. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and rudder left, and right, and neutral. Okay, so trims. Let's see, takeoff data, trim 9.3. Here we go. Okay, trims are set, flaps set for takeoff, external lights set, ice protection set, and we don't need that reminder because we do have the exact figures. Okay. Fantastic, then we are done with all that nice stuff, so let's go ahead and Prepare that and request taxi. Fraction 931 Yankee, request taxi.
Fraction 931 Yankee, runway 24 right, taxi via gate Bravo November, uniform 2, uniform 3, Lima uniform, uniform 7, Tango 1.
Fraction 931 Yankee, taxi to runway 24 right via uniform 2, correction, via uniform and Tango 1. Okay, so we got the routing up here. Never had that one before in Barcelona, but that's definitely gonna be a nice one. Okay, taxi light on, parking brake off, then let's go. Okay, first challenge first, we gotta get out of the gate without destroying anything, because GSX refused to. And here we go. So I'm not 100% sure if we can actually taxi this way or if we had to go the other way. Would be nice if we had some decent charts for the area up here, but the parking stance continued chart is not really giving us that transition here. And that's kind of what I'm missing. On the chart it looked like we could go over here, but looking outside it does not really look like it. No, it doesn't. Okay, well that's fine then. Let's assume we have a marshaller. And can just make a 180 over here. I do believe in the real world you would only enter and exit these aprons with a marshaller anyway. So that would have made our life a lot easier. Anyway, here is where the pushback would have brought us, so now at least we can say that we have a realistic taxi out experience. Okay, I'm just joking, GSX fucked us. So, that's it. That's really it. Alright, so we're going out over here, and then we're gonna keep to the left and stay north of runway 0220.
122.1.
Tower on 122.1, fueling 5 Zulu Hotel.
Okay, here's gate Bravo November. And now we're basically going northbound all the way via uniform to Tango 1. Okay, so let's talk about the taxi. First of all, listen to those taxi sounds. I really, really love them. Really do. Next, let's take a short moment to talk about the way that the airplane handles during taxi. As you can see, we need a little bit of thrust to get moving, but once you are moving, leaving the engines in idle is basically all you need in order to keep your track and make your way around here. Now, why is there a holding point on runway 20? Oh, it's not mentioned here. And that's probably because looking at the chart we are supposed to go left via uniform. Okay, I don't care, I'm gonna backtrack this. Guys, I'm telling you, we need more detailed charts for the area here. Okay, so that would have been a holding point as well. Interesting. Anyway, here we are, and we continue via uniform. By the way, is it nice to have details like those rocks lying around in an airport of the size that Barcelona is? I really think it is. Alright, so... here we go, and now we simply follow the taxiway all the way to the runway, and there is one guy already at the holding point, so I suppose that's where we are going.
Ready to taxi.
Overall, fantastic taxi behavior, I really like
Runway
it.
24 right taxi via Quebec 9er, gate NS.
Needs a bit of thrust to get moving, then as you can see, idle works pretty well,
Runway 2.
and at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for, is it?
Gate NS, Quebec, gate KS, Juliet 5, Echo, November 5, hold short.
Okay,
Runway 2,
fantastic.
41.
So, not this one, but the next one to the right. Alright, so let's do the before takeoff items. Most importantly,
Takeoff okay.
and then let's do the before takeoff checklist, which is takeoff configuration check, CAS messages checked, fasten seatbelt signs on, yaw damper off, auto throttle not installed. And that's it.
Binary 8 Bravo Yankee doors closed, ready for push and start. Roger, pushback approved. Binary 8 Bravo Yankee.
Alright, here's Tango 1, we are behind the 737 MAX. Let's just keep a little distance from him.
Yankee contact tower on 122.1, safe flight.
122.1, fraction 931 Yankee, see ya. And the departure frequency is pre-selected. Barcelona Tower, fraction 931 Yankee, ready for departure. And I think for now we can just set that park and brake.
Fraction 931 Yankee, Barcelona Tower, say again.
Fraction 931 Yankee, ready for departure. Okay, so the checklist has been done until here.
Yankee, runway 24 right, hold short, you're number 2 behind the 320 Neo.
320 Neo. Did they steal the winglets from the MAX? That's definitely a 737 MAX, not a 320. But okay, come on, it's time for you to go. Beautiful outside model. Now the sounds could be a little bit better balanced, because as you can hear, it's very loud on the outside, while it's comparably very quiet on the inside. Okay, one more guy landing. Ouch. Yep, that did all the honors that Ryan I could have asked for. Okay, and the guy in front of us despawned. Then let's go ahead and taxi to the holding point. So once again, taxi behavior. A little bit of thrust to get moving. Like 35%-ish. And once you're up at speed, you can simply go back to idle, the plane will keep that speed. And here we go, we got the speed, we're in idle, keeps moving, lovely. The cutoff angle in front of your nose isn't that big in the Phenom, so make sure that you stop at a good position in front of the stop bar, and that you don't do like you would in an Airbus, where you take the stop bar all the way here. The nose might start entering the runway. You need to be a little bit more careful here. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's quickly grab the departure chart as we're waiting for our takeoff clearance. that the one? Nope.
Hold short of 6 left, ASO 45.
That's it, isn't it? Gauss 8 Delta. So, straight ahead, right turn out, contact departure when advised. Okay, fantastic. Now, looks like the A320neo is going. Then it's our turn behind him, he said, so that Lufthansa is probably going to depart behind us. Fraction 931 Yankee, ready for departure. So straight ahead, right turn, Ducky below level 90.
Fraction 931, Yankee, runway 24 right, line up and wait, caution wake turbulence.
Runway 24 right, line up and wait, fraction 931 Yankee. Okay, lights are on, squawk machine, auto.
Fraction 931, Yankee, the runway still isn't clear from my view, but you're the pilot. Runway 24 right, winds calm, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 24 right, clear for takeoff, fraction 931 Yankee.
Approaching true.
Okay, that's a statement for an ATC. So, before takeoff checklist below the line, that's transponder on, TCAS on, passengers advised, lights on, complete. So, left and right are clear.
Holding short of runway 6 left is all 45.
4 right.
Yeah, the runway. Okay, that guy. Well, in the real world we would of course wait, but since we're in Flight Simulator and I don't want to waste your time, let's start the timer and take off.
Holding short liner 8 Bravo Yankee.
Thrust set. 80 knots. V1 rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Flaps up. And we're through 400. Nav, level change. Climb thrust set. Over to departure, fraction 931 Yankee. Autopilot. Barcelona, fraction 931 Yankee, passing 2500, climbing level 70.
Fraction 931 Yankee, Barcelona departure identified, climb flight level 110.
Climbing flight level 110, fraction 931 Yankee. Set, 110 checked. Alright, after takeoff climb checklist. So, landing gear up, flaps 0, thrust levers climb, auto throttle not installed, speed selector auto, altimeters to go, and the odometer is on. So, set standard. Once, twice, and 3 times.
Contact Barcelona control on 133.08.
13308, fraction 931 Yankee. Barcelona control, fraction 931 Yankee, passing level 80, climbing level 110.
Fraction 931 Yankee, Barcelona. Control identified. Good morning.
Vertical speed. Little aggressive in my opinion. It's pitching really hard. in vertical speed mode, you will see that in level change it's a completely different thing. But in vertical speed it's pitching really hard, which would be pretty uncomfy for the passengers. Alright, we're above 100, so lights are going out and the seatbelt sign is off. Okay, after takeoff climb checklist below level 100. So that's fasten seatbelts off, external lights set, weather radar. Now we can turn that one on. So let's switch to radar and switch it on.
31 Yankee, climb flight level 300.
Fraction 931 Yankee, climb flight level 300. Alright, level change. Climb. And set. 300 is checked. So here's what I mean. In level change it is a lot less aggressive than it is in vertical speed mode, even though it's still fairly aggressive. Okay. Well, it is trimming. Alright, well, let's finish the checklist. So weather radar is on, airspeed is 250, windshield 1 and 2 switches are off, that's the windshield heaters, and that's the after takeoff climb checklist complete. So we've done that lovely stuff, then let's go ahead and bring up the map over here as well. And for the time being, that's everything I can offer you guys. So for now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and then I see you all when we start our approach into Biarritz. Alright gentlemen, we just got our clearance down to 3000, so let's set the QNH and then we can start our approach preparation. 1017, set once, twice, 1256, fraction out of 31 Yankee. Biarritz approach, fraction 931 Yankee, passing 18,400, descending 3000.
Fraction 931 Yankee, Biarritz approach identified. Good afternoon.
Alright, fantastic.
931 Yankee, descend 3000.
Descend 3000, fraction 931 Yankee. So let's just look up what that is in inches. 3003. And that is set. Okay, fantastic. So we got that lovely stuff. Let's go ahead and check our approach. Our first little problem here is that Donna's arrival, and I did use my time in the cruise to talk to Raoul from FSReborn, and he confirmed to me that if there is no waypoint inserted on that star like it just happened, that's indeed a bug with the default simulator G3000. We can try to reinsert it, sometimes it does help, so let's just edit that arrival, Donna's 3 Sierra. It has the waypoints down here, so it should have that stuff. So let's just look at that, now it's coming in. Interesting. Very interesting. Don't ask me why that didn't work earlier. But anyway, now it's in, so that's all we need. I'm also slightly adjusting the vertical speed here in order to get back onto the vertical profile. Yeah, then let's go ahead and start our approach setup, and I am kind of taking it out of time acceleration a little earlier than usual over here, because I want to guide you through it and see what we got. So first of all, we got our standard descent profile, which I've tuned for Mach 7.8, 310 knots and a 3-degree glide slope. You will notice that this needs quite a bit of thrust on, but that's something you'll see with pretty much any business jet, because those things have so much drag that if you go thrust idle, you would get a deck angle, so a pitch down that is so excessive that it would be really uncomfortable for your passengers. So that's the reason why we're doing this with thrust on, just following a standard 3-degree profile. That's much more passenger friendly. Alright, apart from that, we've got our standard speeds and the transition level defined down there, so that is good. Then let's go into the performance and the landing data over here. And we are reaching a point where the FMS starts the deceleration, so let's reduce our thrust a little bit and go down towards 250. So let's do the landing data. We got Biarritz runway 27 with the full length, 14,000 pounds landing weight. Then for the weather, let's show that METAR, and as we can see, we got fantastic weather with a QNH of 1018 now. So let's go ahead and set that real quick. Here we go, 1018 is set cross-checked. Alright, then we can load the METAR data for the landing. Our airport summary is looking good. Landing config will be a flaps full landing, and we'll fly 5 knots faster. Like that, and then we can accept the landing speed. We need 2,524 feet. We have 7,382 available, so that is easy. Alright, fantastic. So that stuff's in here. Then we can take a moment to talk about the approach, and I am going to turn on the fasten seatbelt sign now. Okay, the frequencies and that kind of stuff should auto-tune themselves, so that's nothing for us to worry about. Now let's get our arrival charts from Biarritz down there. So Donas 3 Sierra is this one, ILS 27 is this one, and then we also need the ground chart. So that's going to be this and this. Okay, fantastic. Now, something I do like on this EFB is that you have your pin charts available down here for quick access, making it rather easy to do all of this. Okay, so we are coming in. Oh, what is it doing now? Here we go. We're in from Donos via waypoint 503 to waypoint 277, and then we basically have a self-build approach available in here. So it's eventually going to be radar vectors, probably right after Donos. Maybe direct to Bravo Zulu 501 and then just establish ourselves on the final. Could be anything like that. Alright, reaching level 100. We are descending down 3000. And then passing 100. Lights are coming on. We can see Biarritz down there. And that's pretty much this. Okay, let's do the descent checklist. So that's windshield heat 1 and 2 switches. On pressurization, landing field elevation is check 242, landing speeds are set, and fasten seatbelt signs are on, descent checklist complete. Alright, easy going. Now I am just gonna select the approach chart over here, just to make our lives easy. Like this. Alright, fantastic. Okay, so for the time being, this is all fairly straightforward and fairly easy.
31 Yankee, direct Bravo Zulu 501 approved, descent 3000.
The Bravo Zulu 501 and descent at 3000, fraction out 31 Yankee. Alright, here we go. So let's increase that vertical speed a bit. So the FMS automatically wants to reduce towards 220 right now. That's a bit early for my taste though, so let's go over to manual speed control and reselect 250, like this. Alright. Sometimes I wish we could turn these camera effects off, because let's be honest, our plane isn't bouncing around like this right now. This is literally just the camera. But she's looking gorgeous, isn't she? I really do like the way the Phenom looks. Fantastic airplane, really fantastic airplane. Alright, then let's go back inside here. And here we go. So, approaching 501, let's go ahead and start our speed reduction down towards 220. Okay, approach checklist. External lights are on. Ooh, that's some turbulence. External lights on, passengers advised, cross feed off, altimeters, QNH 1018, and windshield 1 and 2 switches on, approach checklist complete. And it is rather turbulent here on that approach. I've got 1,000 to go, very good speed. So, slowing the Phenom down on final is quite the challenge, unless you're willing to use the speed brake. You may be saying, hold on a second, there is no speed brake. Yes, there is. Down here, it's just a knob, open and close. And the speed brakes are huge on this airplane, really huge. Well, those are the speed brakes. If you extend those, believe me, the thing starts slowing down rapidly. And that's a good and a bad thing. It's good because it means that it's very easy to lose speed. It's bad because it's really not comfortable for the passengers. It really isn't. Alright, so give me that ILS chart. 11135 is active.
Traction inner 31 Yankee 4 miles from FA27. Turn left heading 310. Descend altitude 2,500 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 27 approach.
Fraction now 31 Yankee, left heading 310, descending 2,500 until established, cleared ILS Zulu 27. Alright. Approach is selected, localizer capture. Now let's reduce the speed down to 170 for the time being. Actually, let's make that 160. Flaps 1. 118.7, fraction down 31 Yankee. Pilot star, fraction down 31 Yankee, established ILS 27. Continue, fraction 931 Yankee. Alright, we have altitude capture. Runway 27, clear land, fraction 931 Yankee. Okay, fantastic. We are clear to land. The wind is pretty much light and probably also variable. Now, intercept and glide, flaps 2. Respectively flaps 3, and here's something funny. 2 and 3 is the same setting. The only difference, so you can see flaps 3 triggers the landing gear warning. So let's give it that landing gear. And the reason it triggers it is because 2 is a takeoff setting, 3 is a landing flap setting. Okay, speed is managed again. But it's exactly the same position. It's just triggering something different in the system. Tells the flight warning computer whether you're in a takeoff configuration or a landing configuration, even though it's exactly the same setting. Alright, and flaps full. Speed check, flaps full. So, while it is that turbulent, I'm going to maintain a little higher speed than usual. Our approach speed, as you can see down here, is going to be 111 knots. Okay. So let's go all manual. And before landing checklist, yaw damper off, landing gear down and checked, flaps set for landing, and speed VRAV before landing checklist complete. So we do have glide slope capture, and the go around altitude is 4,000. Alright, then let's make sure we fly back onto the final. You can really feel, while the airplane is certified for single pilot ops, many operators, such as NetJets, are flying her with 2 pilots, and you can see why. Of course, under commercial operations, it's something different than it would be under private operations. So, under commercial operations, like NetJets is doing, 2 pilots are required. Under private operations, you can't fly a single pilot. Okay, and then let's start slowing down to the approach. Just a gentle speed reduction though, looking for 111.
500. Caution, terrain. Caution, terrain.
Yeah, terrain is not a problem.
Caution, terrain.
Okay, so let's make it a good one.
300. 100.
Minimum continue.
Flight director.
And had to do it this way because we were running out of touchdown zone. So 60 knots.
900 meters. Remaining.
31 Yankee, contact ground on 121.905.
121.905 fraction and 31 Yankee. See ya. Alright, fantastic. So we'll let her roll to the next exit. Pilots ground fraction 931 Yankee. Request taxi to the gate.
Fraction 931 Yankee, taxi to stand 7 via Papa, November 1, apron Alpha. Good day.
Papa November 1, stand 7, fraction 931 Yankee. Good day. Alright, and here we are. So, after landing items, flap 0, taxi light off, and I will go to the general aviation apron here. So stand 7 over there. So 5 to 11, so it's got to be here. So lights off, after landing checklist, flap 0, lights off, transponder set, and TCAS set, and that's the after landing checklist complete. Alright, and here is number 7. Okay. Park and brake set. So, shutdown checklist. Thrust is idle, park and brake set, windshield 1 and 2 switches off, ADS probes auto, engine 1 and 2 switches off. Wait a moment, those are the engine anti-ice switches, are they? Yeah, they are. Okay, wing stabilizer switch off, stop knobs, stop. Those are the engine switches. Alright, MFD status page. Is checked and fasten seatbelt sign off. And that's the shutdown checklist complete. So let's go ahead and get rid of our passengers. Let's put the red carpet out, GPU in place, chocks in place. And here we go, GPU is connected, and then unload in real time, please. Fuel can be skipped. We care about the passengers. Alright, so. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for flying along. We're gonna send you the $15,000 bill for the flight momentarily over here. And with that, guys, welcome to Biarritz. That is it. That's the FSReborn Embraer Phenom 300. And I'm completely honest with you, this one is going to become one of my personal favorites. It's a fantastic airplane to fly. And even though it has a couple small issues at the moment, for example, you might have seen during cruise that my thrust was actually above the cruise thrust limit. So that's something that I'm in contact with Raoul from FSReborn. He's looking into that, but overall, it just is a fantastic airplane. It's an initial release, so some smaller bugs is absolutely to be expected, nothing unusual about that. And yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you liked this video. Would I recommend to get the FSReborn Embraer Phenom 300? Absolutely. It's a fantastic airplane. It comes at a fantastic price for everything that's offered, and it just is a modern, high-fidelity business jet, full study level. What else could you ask for? Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. As always, leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Also, thank you very much to FSReborn for offering me the review copy of the Phenom. And with that, thank you very much. Looking forward to see you all again on the next one. And in the meantime, enjoy your own flights.